How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Sorry about the last 3 weeks. I had Disney World and then it got pushed back a day, so I didn't get home till Sunday. And you have so much to do when you're gone a week. I couldn't get back on that Monday. And then we, last week everybody was just too busy to get on. So I missed 3 weeks, and then the show hasn't been on for the last 2 weeks, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think our last episode was we discussed, was it the Falcons game, I guess is what it was, and we haven't done anything since then. Yeah, so that was the last time we were on, was the Falcons recap, and then we didn't do anything for the Eagles or the Texans. So yeah, it's been it feels like forever, but I guess it's only been like 2 weeks.
Well, I remember I came on for a minute from the airport.
Yeah.
We had a layover there for about 20 hours. So I jumped on and
Lord.
It was crazy. We slept in the airport. It was not fun. But yeah, I came on, and if I could have stayed hearing you guys and everything, I would have stayed on with you. But I wasn't gonna mess it up by going, I can't hear what's going on, you know what I mean? So I was like, let them get back on their rhythm and get out of here and just say hi and everything.
Typically recording in an airport might be a flex, but in your case, it was like kind of sad, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was. We made the best of it, and we got an extra day out of vacation, so
yeah,
I was cool with just, if I do something like that again, never, I unfortunately had to eat at the airport because I was stuck there, but if at all possible, never eat at the airport. It's like double the price of Disney. And Disney food's expensive. It's crazy.
Yeah, I haven't had too many trips to the airport. I've never eaten in an airport, but I know that everything there is overpriced because it's, they kind of what's that term?
Price gouge you.
Price gouge you, yeah.
Got you stuck. They know you're at the airport. You don't have a way to, it's not often you have time to leave, go get food, and come back. So bad.
Yeah, one thing I got to say, Mike, I didn't see any Disney churro picks this year. I was kind of disappointed.
I didn't they're not, Florida's not really a churro. They didn't have any. I don't know what it is. Maybe churro's a California thing, but like Walt Disney World didn't really. There weren't a lot of churros. Like I didn't even notice any churro carts. Looking around, I didn't even notice a churro cart the whole time I was there. So maybe that's a Disneyland thing. Like Walt wanted that in his original, the top park. Maybe he only wanted the churros there, but I didn't see him at Disney World. It's funny. The food was not this in California. We kind of bullied them into. We'll put downtown Disney right there and get real restaurants. And if you guys don't want to feed us real food, we'll leave the fucking park and go to downtown Disney and eat. Because this is California and we don't mess around. Florida was more, you had to eat in the park. Disney Springs is 15 minutes away. You're not just walking outside and going there. And so it felt more mass produced. So the food wasn't up to Disneyland caliber, but it's still the park's awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Before we go on to a food rant, Mike, where can we find you on Twitter?
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Unfortunately, the conductor of the Jake Ferguson hype train, Brendan Fergie Smith, couldn't be with us tonight. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Brendan_Smith26. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Paul_Ryan15. Mike, have you made your way to Blue Sky?
Yes. How are you not following me? I looked you up. I couldn't find you.
I got on there. I just created an account and I started looking for fantasy people. I didn't know that you were on there, but I'll definitely make sure to drop that follow.
Yeah, I'm on there. We all have to get the podcast on there too. And Fergie, Brendan Fergie Smith doesn't play when Fergie doesn't play. So Fergie's out with a concussion, so Brendan's out.
Yeah, something came up tonight. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Brendan had a concussion. He just didn't know how to tell us, Mike.
Yeah, that might be it. A Fergie concussion.
Mike, as we stated earlier, it's been a couple of weeks since we last recorded, and a lot has happened in the NFL since our last show. Week 12 was dominated yet again by strong running back play. Saquon Barkley is getting MVP recognition after his dominating performance, and the Eagles look like the Super Bowl team they were in 2022. Mike, what are your NFL thoughts for Week 12?
I got one quick, fast one that Davante Adams is like cursed, dude. Like, he goes to the Raiders, Carr gets kicked out. He goes to the Jets, and he's like there 2 weeks, and they're like talking about cutting Aaron Rodgers, apparently. Like, he's for sure out. I don't know if it's going to be the rest of the year or what, but he's gone. And then my other thing is I feel like a lot of people are flexing on like Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley and stuff like that about how they're playing, and I'm more of I'll take my back in the 3rd through 5th round guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think those two are the flex y'all think it is. Like, Saquon Barkley was a number 2 or 3 overall pick that when he played for the Giants wasn't very impactful, didn't impact winning too much. They were a bad team. He was often injured. He never really had a season like he's having now. And then he gets on a great team with a great offensive line and 2 all-pro receivers and an all-pro tight end and a good mobile quarterback and a number 1 defense right now. And now he's kicking butt, which is kind of like our running back doesn't matter. We say like, well, yeah, if you get everything around you, like Detroit has, go get a Jamar Gibbs, that's fine. Yeah. But you don't, when you're Dallas, you don't take a Ginty in the 1st round and you're basically the New York Giants with them or Bijan. I heard somebody, I was like, well, I'd take A-Chain online. I was like, Devin A-Chain, dude, 3rd round pick is killing. And the person was like, well, Bijan Robinson didn't have a great play caller the 1st year. Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't take guys in the top 10 because a top 10 generational back doesn't have a good play caller. And he's not great. Once he has a better play caller and better surroundings, then he plays great. Like, you guys are making our point here. Like, Rico Dowdle is not great. You put him on the Chiefs, he's probably a pretty solid RB1. You put him on Dallas, he's more of a okay RB2. And if you get a generational top 10 back, he's probably good for us, which is better than what we have. But still, do you want to use a top 10 pick on a good running back? Like, no. But if you put him on Detroit or the Eagles or something, he's going to be unbelievable. So it's funny the way they go on and flex about it, and I've kind of cut off talking about it online. Like, running backs aren't important enough to waste your time, as Mike White said, at Not to Be Trite. But it's just funny because I see that all over. Like, yeah, man, got to get those first. You should look at these 1st round backs and how they're doing. And I'm like, it's kind of not the 1st round back. Like, you put Devin A-Chain on Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle when Tua plays, and he's the best running back in the league efficiency wise. You get Chase Brown and put him on. What is he? Is he the Bengals?
Bengals,
with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Yeah, and he's dominating. Well, yeah, because that's how it works with the running back. If you got great stuff around them, it elevates them into better than what they are. So it just makes me laugh that they're like, see, Derrick Henry. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, he was a good back with Tennessee, and they had a good offensive line, but no quarterback. Then he goes to the Ravens, and it's like, oh, my God, this guy's an MVP. Yeah, exactly. When you put them around the right surroundings, it makes a big difference. Regardless if you're a 1st round player, a 3rd round player, a 5th round player, you get the right back with the right guys around them, and they're going to be really good. But a lot of it depends on, do you have a good play caller? Do you have a good offensive line? Do you have receivers that make it to where safeties have to stay back and you get better boxes? Like, all that stuff matters in the running game in total. Better backs, of course, matter. Like, see, Eagles were a top rushing team with Miles Sanders, but they elevated to like, oh my God, this is an MVP. Well, yeah, Saquon Barkley's better, But if you take Saquon Barkley off and put Miles Sanders, they're still going to be one of the better running teams. They're just not going to have an MVP running back. And it's levels like that, basically.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can definitely see that side of the argument. I can see both sides, but yeah, you make a very compelling case. I can't argue with that. My NFL Week 12 thought is I think this is the year that either Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen will knock Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs out of the playoffs.
It is looking like it. And I'll tell you, because of who it is, don't be surprised if the other Harbaugh, who's playing right now, number one defense, running game, Herbert, a quarterback with the talent of Herbert with a number one defense and a running game is going to keep you in the game. And then at the end of the game, he gets the ball last and knocks out KC. That wouldn't shock me at all. Any of those three teams, I think.
Yeah, the Chiefs are a very lucky team this year.
Yeah, they are. They remind me of Eagles last year where they kept winning, but I was like, they didn't like this year. They feel like, oh, these guys are legit one of the better teams in the NFC. Last year, I was like at 10-1. I was like, I don't know. I don't think they could beat Dallas. We kind of blew the first game to them, and then they came to our house and we wiped them out. And kind of from there, they just fell apart. And I feel like they have the great quarterback and coach, which I think the Eagles lacked anything that high level at quarterback or coach. So they could still win, but they don't feel like confident. I'm not confident like, oh, Casey, of course, Casey and, they're going for sure. I'm not confident in that.
I mean, to have to go to overtime with Carolina is crazy.
Was it an overtime game?
Well, I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong. Wasn't it overtime?
You know what? To be honest with you, it was a morning game, right?
Yeah, it was a nooner.
So I was watching Dallas, like, what are we doing? What is happening right now? And I kind of didn't pay attention to the other games, and I saw they won 30-27, but it was either a last second drive or overtime, but I don't know for sure.
No, I was mistaken. I thought it went to overtime, but it was regulation 30-27, but still the only win by 3, and I guess it had to come down to a game-winning field goal is still insane to me.
Just let Panthers play really well in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for some selfish reasons for sure. Mike, speaking of that, I'll be honest, I thought we'd be discussing the Cowboys' 6th straight loss, but in true Cowboys fashion, they win a game they have no business winning. I got to admit, as much as I want a top 10 draft pick, beating a division rival and the taste of victory for the first time in almost 2 months is pretty sweet. What did you learn about this team after their Week 12 win?
That Zimmer still got it as a DC. Like, it took him a few weeks to okay, I'm not very talented here. I have to work around this here. But that dude hasn't had, defensive ends all year, no edge rushers. Even Golston, who's played well, doesn't, get to the quarterback. He's an edge setter,
Mm-hmm.
And then he's never had his top 3 corners all year. Every week. DeRon Bland comes back. Oh, by the way, Diggs is out. Where was a Diggs? Nobody even heard of a Diggs injury. Oh, yeah, he can't play. It's like they're the same person, and they switch the jerseys to get jersey sales. And it's all right, we're bringing Bland back. Diggs is out. And it's like Diggs in a Bland jersey. I don't know. They never get to play together. So, I think Zimmer's still got a fastball. He's still a dude in this league as a coach. So I'll be interested. I don't think he'll be here next year, but I'll be interested if he earned himself a job somewhere.
Yeah, I'm guessing you assume probably not here is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna clean house after this year.
Yeah. So I mentioned this last week after the Monday night loss to the Texans, but this team hasn't given up on the coaching staff for the season, and that's what I learned about this team after the Week 12 win.
I think they realize they have good coaches.
Yeah.
Week to week, this and that. But I think their offensive scheme, he's too scared to I think he has plays that use motion and this and that, but I think he's too worried that the offensive line isn't good enough. And now it's gotten to a point where it's now we have to do stuff because we can't rely on Dak to hey, throw these guys open in tight windows. Now they have to do some stuff. And so the offense has opened up more, even with the offensive line getting more beat up. And it's kind of frustrating. Like, if week one, you guys prepared to do this kind of stuff and started where you are now, where would you be instead of like, oh, we have all these offensive line issues we got to worry about. Maybe we shouldn't. Like, just go out and do it. Like, if the offensive line doesn't hold up a game and you lose a game, that's fine. But you'd have played a lot better if your offense was helping your defense out while the defense was figuring it out under the new defensive coordinator. And that just, it feels like they made a misstep, which doesn't matter now because Dak's gone. The minute Dak's out, your hopes of winning a Super Bowl or going on a playoff run are done. But I believe if they were forced to do what they did now with Dak as a quarterback on offense, they probably get off to a lot better start. And now the defense would be coming into form, and you'd be able to like, okay, let's see if we can go for this push for a playoff run. But they got down too bad, and then Dak's out. So what are you going to do? Now it's tanking.
I do wonder, with just the way the defense is playing and everything and kind of showing up these last 6 weeks, like what if the front office, we finish the season strong and the front office kind of, I don't want to say misevaluate, but that's the only word or term I can think of where they're like, what if we just part with McCarthy, Schottenheimer, and the offensive line coach? We elevate Zimmer to the head coach. We elevate Harris to DC, and we just hire new offensive staff. And I feel like they're close enough to where with this defensive coaching staff and on defense that maybe with a good draft, they could turn this thing around pretty quickly.
I think if we're forced to go old coaches, like, hey, we're not hiring a coach unless they've been to won a Super Bowl as a coordinator or been to, have experience, like another McCarthy, Bill Parcells, one of those types, then I wouldn't mind Zimmer. But, man, I wish they would really just like, hey, we need to go out of the box and see what other people are doing around here and what's winning and go with something like Ben Johnson, Robert Salah would be, you know what I mean? Just pay them a shit ton of money. It doesn't go against the cap. You're the richest franchise in sports. Pay Ben Johnson the $15 million he wants and give Robert Saleh $5+ million to be the defensive coordinator, and let's just go, And then the coaching's not a issue. You're talking about other stuff, So I don't ever think they'll do it. I think there's more likely a chance that Zimmer's the head coach that Ben Johnson is. And that's kind of a bummer to me, even though Zimmer's one of my all-time favorite coaches. It feels like they'll never learn. Like they only want to win their way, even if it's like nothing.
Yeah. Shout out to the birthday boy, Mitch, for joining the show. Happy birthday, Mitch.
I think it was 5 shots of alcohol. Strong whiskey, too.
Ooh, if I had 5 shots of whiskey, man, I would not be awake right now.
You got to remember, you're talking to people that like, we would be walking around partying after like 14, 15 shots back in the day. Ooh. No, I haven't drank other than like a couple of drinks at Walt Disney World. I haven't drank in a long time. So the first 2 shots I took like I told you, when I started working out on the bike, my stomach was like, we're going to throw up, dude. So it was not great, but what are you going to do?
Whiskey and mac and cheese and exercise doesn't sound like a good combination.
It went whiskey, exercise, throw up in my mouth while I was exercising.
Oh.
Finished and with 12 minutes left. Drink some to get it out, go, throw up, then come back, have another shot or 2, make food, eat, and now the podcast. Then I'll have a couple of shots with them afterwards.
Mike, you're having a more exciting Monday than most people, I'd imagine, sir.
Happy birthday, bro.
Yeah, again, shout out to Mitch. I hope you're having a good day, my friend. When you heard Trayvon and Zach Martin were going to miss the game, did you believe Dallas had any chance of winning this game, Mike?
No, especially with Quinn. Like Dan Quinn, I thought he'd have his team like, let's go, dude. Let's show them that they kept the wrong guy. Like I should have been the guy. Let's put it on them. And it was like we played like that. It was weird because we have the 1 year left. Like the coach that's like, he's gone after the year anyway. And it's like the team, like our defense played up for our head coach more than their team played up for their head coach. That was weird.
Yeah. It was a weird series of events, man, especially in that fourth quarter. Like, I thought that we were going to find a way to lose, but we finally finished the game, man.
Yeah, they man, I won't lie. I was like, the perfect way to do this if you're trying to get a high draft pick is you want your team to play well and be in games, but then lose them at the end. So when the Terry McLaurin thing happened, I was kind of like, that's fine. Like, if they win now, that's cool. We played good. You blew the game, but Mozzie played well, and Nealon played well, and Micah played well. Lamb played well. You know, Rico had a good game. Your offensive line had one of their best games. So it's like losing, you still feel like, okay, we're getting better and everything, and we keep our lower pick. But it turned out, you know, their kicker was bad.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. First, I couldn't believe the KaVontae Turpin spin move for that touchdown, but my God, I couldn't believe that extra point missed. I like went insane when that happened, dude.
I was upset at first, but I don't want my team to get a culture of losing either. So it's, you know, I'm not like mad about it. I want my team to play well and win games and build a good chemistry of the team and build, you know, a foundation. But I also want the day 2 picks. You know, I want round 2 to be in the top 40, not 40 to 55. I want round 3 to be the top 75, not 75 to 90. So it's a hard balance for rooting for your team to win and play well and build this young team up, but also know that we're not going to use free agency. We're not going to sign big players to help our team. Like, so those first 3 picks being in the top 75 would be huge for us, you know? So it's difficult.
Yeah, I like the season is interesting because you get to talk about exciting victories like we had yesterday, but you also get to talk about evaluation of the players that are on this team when we're playing bad, and then you get to really look forward to the draft. So it's an interesting season. You know, it kind of reminds me of the first year of this podcast.
Yeah, we started on a draft. Like, we started on, well, CeeDee Lamb's not going to happen, so we're trying to be realistic, and then that happened. So, you know, it's exciting, and I'm a ways in now. I'm already in draft season myself, so it's been fun evaluating players this early.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say, kind of going back to the question, I when I found out, I recorded a little short on YouTube. Just saying that after knowing that Zach Martin and both Trayvon Diggs were out, I just didn't give us a chance at all to win this game. But, you know, that's just kind of how football goes, man. You get surprised every week, it feels like. It kind of sounds like you're not sad that the Cowboys won, but you're also not happy. Are you just kind of in between, indifferent? What are your thoughts on that?
When I was watching the game, I like cheered when Terry McLaurin scored. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, because my mind had already shifted to draft mode, and I'm like, dude, we could really get a top 5 pick. But as I sat and, like, you see the reaction of the players, and I start thinking about, well, you know, Mozzie Smith had a really good game. Like, he's played good games against the division. Like, that's something that you can build on. Nealon came back, had a good game. Overshone looks good. You know, so you the offensive line, like, you may need a right guard next year, and Bass and Hoffman both played well. Guyton, he had some penalties, and I was happy that they sat him. Like, they're not just like, oh, yeah, hey, penalties, they happen. No, punish people. Hold people accountable. But in the end, he had like 30 pass rush reps and didn't allow a single pressure. Like, he's getting up there. People are calling him like a bust for some reason. I'm like, dude, this guy's played good the last few weeks. Like, and they're telling him, hey, you're playing great, and if you commit penalties, we're going to sit your ass out. So enough of the fucking penalties. Yeah. So that is something that at first I was like, damn, man, like Travis Hunter, the Travis Hunter dream's gone. The Abdul Carter dream is probably gone now. You probably lost one of the wide receivers, now. So it's like every win you get, you're losing 3 to 5 players. But I don't want them to just lose every week and get that culture of, like, because then when you get in a game and you're down 17 in the second quarter and it's like, okay, we had a bad start. Let's get back into it. You don't want to be a team that's like, here we go again. You know what I mean? And you just play. So it's a tough balance.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I like that this team is showing some fight. 6 weeks in a row, we've had really, really strong first halves. Our defense has played really well. It was nice to see our offense finally complement our defense because, things have just come unraveled in the second half, especially in the third quarter, something we'll talk about later in the show. But, it was just nice to see, I hate to use this term, but to see this team finish the fight all the way through.
Well, they didn't score a lot early, but they had like opening drive, blocked field goal. Another drive, missed field goal. So it wasn't 3 and out or turnover where the defense is like, damn, we got to go back out already. Like they were like taking some time off the clock, running some plays. And so it allowed the defense to survive. And then Micah even said it in the fourth quarter, the last like half of the fourth quarter, they got gassed again because it's not like the offense was great. They were, the defense had to play amazing for 3 quarters to keep it, a game. And then in the fourth quarter, I think both defenses were just dead weight. And so it went crazy.
One player I think deserves some little bit of praise. I haven't been on X much. I've been just over on Blue Sky seeing what that's all about. But Luke Schoonmaker, back-to-back weeks of good production. Been nice to see him doing something.
Yeah, Luke's played well. Spanford's played well. The young offensive lineman coming in, Mozzie, Dio. People are playing. Butler made my studs and duds list. He was my top stud. Led the team in tackles, 3 pass deflections, all 3 of them on third downs. Set up a punt, and then a field goal that they missed. And then he also had a sack on a third down play. So, James Butler, the famous 3 million on friggin' Instagram or whatever follower from his TV shows, James Butler came and balled out for us this week.
Is he an actor or something?
Yeah, he played on like All-American for a season. Okay. And he had some stuff. His family, his parents had passed away, and there was a story behind that kind of got him a big following too. But he's got like 3 million Instagram followers, and it had nothing to do with football. Like this was his first real big breakout game.
Yeah, because he's kind of like a journeyman, right?
Yeah. He is UFL or one of those under leagues, and then he came here and was practice squad last year. And then he started last week and got kind of cooked. And you could tell Commanders knew it because they were going at him. But he made enough plays. He stopped 4 drives on third down himself. So
yeah, he showed out yesterday.
He really did.
Was this good Cowboys defense or an indictment on the Commanders offense for you?
Okay, so this one's tough because Cliff Kingsbury has a history of like 6 weeks looking unbeatable. And then just kind of never adjusting and being terrible the rest of the year. Right. He had it in Arizona forever. And now it's kind of started the last couple of weeks for the Commanders. But I don't want to take that away from Zim. Like, Zim's got his guys playing. He's got, like I said, Mozzie playing good. Micah, 2 sacks, like, was playing well. Like, he had the team starting to play well while all his guys were out. So as he gets people back, Micah, Nealon, Bland, they're picking up their play, So it's probably a 50-50 thing, part Kingsbury, part Zim. But I want to highlight Zim because the difference is crazy.
You imagine, though, how nice would it be to go into next year and, like, you're finally seeing something from Mozzie who can be like a consistent player. You have Schoonmaker who, if maybe Ferguson leaves, we just don't bring him back. We can rely on him. And like having that drafting, of course, obviously overshown, like those guys being players for us in addition to our 2024 draft class. Like this team could be surprisingly good if we have another good draft, I feel like.
They need a good draft, but they need to make sure like they gotta leave the offseason next year with a real threat wide receiver 2, legitimate, younger 2. They need to leave with with at least one big time DT, one big time guy. Yeah. And then if they could find a way to bring Jordan Lewis back or some kind of one more DB, playmaking DB, whether it's keeping your third corner or upgrading safety. If they can do that, I think Dak comes back healthy. They can make some noise.
It's funny you bring up the wide receiver too, because after the Texans game, I was like, man, Turpin has made plays, Tolbert has made some plays, but it's so evident that like we have to have another like solid, consistent week-to-week guy who, if for some reason CeeDee Lamb were to go down, like we need a guy who is going to put fear into a defense, and Turpin and Tolbert aren't going to do that. But a guy like T. Higgins or something, if we could get somebody like that, maybe not saying sign him, but just somebody of that ilk, then this team could really be something.
Hunter, Tech McMillan, or Burden, whose first name I'm forgetting. That's probably the alcohol. But Burden
Travis
the
Hunter
third
would be disgusting.
Who's that?
Travis Hunter would be disgusting.
That's the problem is we lost him when we beat the Commanders. We lost our shot at him. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like consider taking him first overall, Oh, he should be. Somebody will take quarterback, but he should be first overall. He's by far the best player.
I feel to get Hunter, I think he had to have a top 3 pick for sure.
We had a shot at it.
Yeah. It would have been nice, man. That would have been absolutely insane. The amount of jersey sales and just the publicity having Travis Hunter on this team would have been absolutely crazy. A Jerry dream.
Oh yeah. It would have went nuts. Maybe Dion will make it happen. Dion, if we get to if we stay inside the top 10, top 8, maybe Dion will be like, Travis Hunter is only playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Something like that.
Oh man, that would be so sick. Hunter comes to the Cowboys and then Dion comes to coach. How would you feel about that?
I don't want Dion as a coach. I think he's more of I can recruit great players and so I win more than I can X and O's up wins. And
he recruits good players and has a good coaching staff. That could be a difference maker, kind of like
but how do you
Nico do with the GM as the Mavericks?
How do you recruit in the NFL? You have a guy that won't pay money, so that recruiting ain't going to work, and you can only draft where your position is. And that's what worries me about him at the NFL level. I think he should stay at college and just do well there, where he could go into living rooms and go, come play for me. We're going to be on TV all the time. I'm going to promote your guy. They're going to get drafted. Look at Travis Hunter. Look at Sador Sanders, that type of thing.
That's fair, yeah, because they get recruited and get paid, so that's a big factor for sure.
Yeah.
I think we've talked a little bit about Mike Zimmer. I think it's fair to say that we both think that this coaching staff deserves some praise after the improved defensive play the last 6 weeks. I mean, not just Zimmer, but I think the coaching staff as a whole.
Agreed.
So are you team pay Golston and Turpin, or would you prefer they make bigger paydays in a comp pick?
Okay, so the way I'm going to do it is if the other team pays and your comp pick is a 5th to 7th round pick, then you sign them.
Yeah.
If they sign them at any cost that gets you a 3rd or 4th round pick, you let them walk. That would be how I would do it. So I'm like, we're going to offer you this much, and if somebody goes above that, then we'll take our comp pick, But I would keep them in that if somebody signs you at this level and it's a 5th to 7th round comp, then I would rather just have you on my team.
Yeah. I was thinking, Turpin has been such a weapon man, but he's been so underutilized that I'd like to re-sign him. And Golston, I think he's someone we need to bring back while our young new defensive lineman, who I imagine will have, a new group in here. I think he's somebody who could come back and play a solid role while those guys get acclimated.
I really want those two back. It's just, is somebody going to give them the Beata Dorrance Armstrong contracts?
Right.
If you're getting something like that, well, no, I can't pay Golston $7-8 million a year, and I can only go so far with Turpin because without a offensive coordinator that I know will utilize him, I can't pay that much for somebody that people could kick the ball out of the end zone, kick the ball out of bounds on punt returns, and he's just basically a gadget guy, and you're paying him a bunch of money. Like, I can't do that. I need to know I'm getting a Ben Johnson that'll know how to use him.
I wonder if Golston will get that first Dorrance Armstrong deal, like the 2-year, $6 million. That'd be nice.
I'd love that. That would work great, and I think that's about where I'd be comfortable.
Yeah, same here. After an unexpected win, are you more excited for Thanksgiving or the Cowboys game now, Mike?
I'm kind of on draft eval now. Like, I don't even know if I'd have watched that game if it wasn't for the fact that I had to write for the Cowboys Wire. I'm kind of the Cooper Rush version of the Cowboys don't really do it for me. So I watched the trenches. I like to watch our young guys on both sides of the ball there.
Yeah.
And I like to watch Overshown because that was my draft guy before Dallas even drafted him, you know?
Yeah.
So I watch, but I wouldn't say like, I'm like, all right, here we go. We got the Giants. It's like, I don't really care. I wouldn't even watch if I wasn't writing an article. I would watch the tape, you know, to see, but I don't care about watching the game. Like, come on, man, we got to score right here. Like, I'm not that.
Yeah, you know, I'm still excited more for the day. I'm definitely looking forward more to the Cowboys game than I was, but spending the day with family will be fun. You know, like I said off prior to recording that, we're talking about probably going to have breakfast and go see Wicked. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. And everybody coming over afterwards and hanging out.
Yeah, it's more of a food thing for me than a football thing. And normally it's always football first. But
so, speaking of food, Mike, are you cooking anything special or new this year? I know last year you were you went to your brother's and you were on cranberry sauce assignment. Is that the same thing this year?
I got nothing.
Oh, wow.
I'm not doing anything. They're going to do all of it. There's a chance I'll make those fried mac and cheese balls as appetizers, but I wasn't asked to do that. I haven't been asked to make anything. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to my brother's house and let them do all that work.
You won't even make the infamous dates, huh?
No, that I wasn't asked to do anything. So I'm happy to not volunteer. Like, I'm good. Just they make a lot of good food. So
yeah. So I was thinking of cooking a homemade mac and cheese and dressing for the first time this year, but our lunch and dinner plans, you know, look to be changing. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to cook anything new this year yet, actually. But what entree, side, dessert, or drink are you most excited about this year?
I don't know what he's making for sure, but last year he made scallop potatoes, cheese au gratin potatoes.
Au gratin, yeah.
Yeah, and that is like a top 10 food of all time for me, and he does a really good one, my brother. So I'm kind of hoping for that. That's the one I'm hoping they do.
That's something I've never attempted to cook. I feel like it as simple as it sounds, it's probably difficult to like cook well, like consistently.
It's very easy to cook. It's just a lot of prep. Sliced potatoes, layer cream, layer cheese, layer potatoes, layer cream, layer cheese. And so peeling, slicing, and layering takes a lot of time. Then you just put it in the oven until it's nice and the color you want it, you know, melt-wise. But it is a lot of prep. So that's why I'm hoping they do it, but I don't know if they are or not.
But I feel like if you don't have a mandolin and maybe your knife skills aren't that great, like if you get the potatoes too thick, they might not cook right, or you know, you might burn the cheese cooking the potatoes too long, stuff like that. So it might be simple to cook, but it could also be simple to mess up, you know.
Even if you'd have to be really bad at slicing potatoes to get them, because you cook them for a while. Like, you let them go a good like 45 minutes. Is not just like the cheese and the cream and everything. It bubbles for a while before it turns color, and then you let it get a nice like medium brown, and it takes a minute. So you'd be pretty safe with the potatoes. It's the prep is the issue.
I'll have to try it sometime. Mitch has a question for me. What's the mac and cheese you're thinking? You know, I haven't really. I mean, I thought about it. There's not a recipe I've seen a lot of different recipes. I haven't really picked one that I was willing to try, but just kind of a baked mac and cheese. Not the one that when you cut into it, it's just like a brick. There's no cream, there's no cheese, but like the creamier version of that of baked mac and cheese is what I'm thinking though.
You're going make it on the stove top so it's super creamy, then pour it in, top it, brown the top so that it's like a baked.
I don't know what the appeal is of that baked mac and cheese where it looks super dry.
as long as you do the cheese sauce right and you cook, the problem is the noodles, if you boil them like you're doing stovetop,
Yeah.
then they're cooked already. And when you put them in the oven, they soak up the cheese, they become overcooked, and it could get
Yeah.
dry and mealy. Baked mac and cheese is the best if you know how to make baked mac and cheese. If not, then you have to worry, is it going to be, dried out and overcooked pasta?
I've only had one good baked mac and cheese, and that was from when I worked at Olive Garden. We had a family dinner for Thanksgiving one year, and the kitchen manager made his brother-in-law's famous baked mac and cheese, and best mac and cheese I've ever had in my life.
Did it have bacon?
It didn't, no.
Okay. I like it better with bacon, but it doesn't have to have bacon.
Yeah, I feel like bacon with mac and cheese is overrated, but maybe I just haven't had the good one yet. As far as the entree, side, or dessert or drink I'm most excited about this year, my wife and I are going to make a tres leches cake. We're going to cheat and use a boxed cake mix, but we're going to make a tres leches cake. So I'm kind of excited about that. I want to convince her to make a pumpkin version of tres leches cake. So we'll see what happens.
That sounds good, man. I'm excited to hear how that goes.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture after, because we made a chocolate tres leches cake about a month ago. That turned out really good.
Chocolate one, nice. I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Are you excited for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving at all? I mean, I guess you kind of answered that already. Not really.
No. Nope.
Yeah, again, I am more excited than I was, but I hate to admit it that I kind of am, only because if we can only win the rest of the games against our division, I'll consider this a successful season. But outside of that, man, I can't really say. It's hard to say I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like I want to see us be playing well. I don't care if we necessarily win, but just to be playing well to make the games competitive.
3 more games. I don't want to win 3 more games. I don't want to be at 7 wins, man. Then you're talking like, 15. Like, I don't want to be in that range.
Hey, Ashton Jinty at pick 15. What are you thinking?
I don't want a running back in the first round. And he's great. He's a top 10 player. But Dallas, that's what people don't understand. People think it's like I'm like, no, it's because our front office is dumb. If we had a front office that went out and paid for a wide receiver 2 and a defensive tackle and a safety, then I'd be like, oh shit, give me Jinty. Hell yeah. But we know we won't. And so I can't waste a running back when I need a defensive tackle. You know how more the better chance that I get a 3rd round running back that gives me the production of a 1st rounder compared to a 3rd round DT, like 3 tech, especially that we're going to need if because I would let Osa go. So if you're letting Osa go and you need a 3 tech, you better be getting one in those top 40 picks, one of those top 40s. You need a baller there.
I won't lie, I'd be kind of disappointed if we used money on Osa, just because I know he hasn't had a running mate or been giving a lot of opportunities to succeed, but I just don't think I've seen enough to warrant him a 2nd contract.
Yeah, he's a good starter. You're happy that you got him in the 3rd round, but just like Dalton Schultz, Biotish, Dorrance Armstrong, when it comes to paying him like 8 to 12 million, I would rather get another player, younger, cheaper, and see if you can get a better player, or at least if it's the same, it's a cheap player, not a $10 million player.
Yeah, man, at $12 million, holy cow! If we paid him that much, that'd be insane. Would you have preferred to play Daniel Jones this week?
Yeah, because it gives Giants a better chance. I mean, a running quarterback gives us trouble, and DeVito and Drew Lock are just terrible. So yeah, I would.
We have a comment from a new viewer here, Mike, the Sport 78. Thank you for joining us. Osa's in a contract year and is having an average year at best. Players usually play their best in contract years. Hard pass. Hey, I'm not managing, and I agree.
If you look at his metrics and the guys that get paid at the kind of pressure rate and run stop rate that he does, you're seriously looking at somebody's going to pay him 8 to 12 a year. Go through after this. Look at Sports Track at the defensive tackles. You'll be like, damn, you're thinking like Chris Jones. Like, no, dude, like decent defensive tackles are getting paid big money.
Yeah.
And he's a decent defensive tackle. Like, he's a solid player. He's going to get some money in free agency. One of these teams that have a lot of money are going to pay him to come in to fill that type of hole. And that's not something I would do. And I love the guy, but an undersized DT, not a lot of production, let him go somewhere else. And I hope he kicks ass, but I'm not paying hoping, I'm not paying him money like that, hoping he busts out.
If we were to pay a defensive lineman who's a free agent next year, $12 million, his name better be DeMarcus Lawrence for me.
Yeah, see, and I don't even want to pay DeMarcus Lawrence $12 million.
I'm not saying I want to pay him that. I'm just saying if that's the kind of money we're shelling out for defensive linemen who has already been here, then let it be DeMarcus Lawrence.
Agreed. I would take DeMarcus Lawrence at any price over Osa for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, with as bad as the Giants are, I don't think it really matters who the quarterback is. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would have played Daniel Jones, like you said, just to be a little bit more competitive. I'm not necessarily rooting for the Cowboys to lose this one, but it's always nice to watch good games, which, that the Sunday game, I'm still pretty, I don't want to say excited about, but that was kind of like definitely easily the best game of this season outside of the Steelers game. And just, I don't know. I don't want to say it's like a game of the year candidate, but that fourth quarter was insane, dude.
That last 5 minutes and 16 seconds was like the craziest of the year, for real.
Yeah, it was like 10 to 9 with 5 minutes left. Ended up being 30-something to 20. Yeah, just crazy. Did you think Daniel Jones deserved to get benched or waived?
Benched, yes, because you can't risk injury. If he gets injured, then you have to pay him the money, which is the whole point, is they don't want to pay him. And waived, he asked for. He's like, let me get, if you're not going to play me because money and everything, then just let me be cut, so I can try to hop on to it if Purdy can't come back, or Minnesota needs a backup or something like that. Somebody gets hurt, I could, give it a shot. So I think injury, yes, for the team, waived, yes, for the player. So they both got a plus out of it.
True. Do you think Jones will be a starter in 2025?
No, unless there's a big, I don't want to say a name, but a player like a Mayfield or a rookie or something like that gets hurt, and you could bring Daniel Jones in for the year, But I don't think somebody's bringing him in like, we signed this guy to be our starter this year, and we'll go from there. I don't see that.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I was thinking that he could be a potential Aaron Rodgers replacement.
Man, don't do that to the Jets. It's so mean. Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers at 40 and off injury, and then Daniel Jones. That's brutal.
How would you feel about Jones being the backup to Dak Prescott in 2025?
I'd be good with it. Mobile, he can move around. He can do some stuff. Dak nowadays misses a game or two every year. Mm-hmm. So he's been a playoff team. He knows the division. Yeah, I think he fits at the right price.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be bad about it. I actually wrote most definitely here, but yeah, Daniel Jones as the backup, that'd be kind of fun, especially like you said, if Dak were to miss 3 to 4 games, I'd feel pretty good about Daniel Jones as the backup.
You got to win you a couple games. He knows that division. He's played in his whole career, so it would work.
Yes, sir. Are the Giants worse than the Cowboys?
Yes. Yeah, they are. They have Cooper Rush is like a good quarterback compared to their quarterbacks without Daniel Jones. Like, Daniel Jones is in that a little bit better than Cooper Rush. Like, he's not much better, but Cooper Rush is one of those, I feel like he could do good on the Niners. Like, they're not going to win playoff games or anything, but he can win some games with that type of team. Minnesota. I don't see Sam Darnold as a lot better than Cooper Rush, right now in their careers. Like, he's better, but he's not like, oh my God, Sam Darnold, Cooper Rush is this, So, yeah, I think Giants are better just on the fact that, we really have, a step up at quarterback, which is crazy to say about Cooper Rush.
Everything you said about running backs can be also said about Sam Darnold type of quarterback as far as being in situation, play caller, players around him and stuff.
Yes, agreed.
With Tommy DeVito at quarterback and our defense playing better, could Dallas get their first shutout of the season?
I think the defense is too limited for that.
Okay.
It's too they'll blow a coverage.
Yeah.
Their running probably isn't their run stopping probably isn't consistent enough. Like they'll mess up somewhere. Their defense has been bad all year.
Let's see the sport here with a bold statement. Cooper Rush is elite. If Dak had the game Rush had yesterday, Cowboys fans would be pretty satisfied. The sport, I was happy with your comment about Osa, but now you're losing me here, my friend.
I think he was being sarcasm. Yeah. Okay. I knew that. You can't put Rush in elite. Like you took it above me. I was calling him like in the Sam Darnold range, and that was a little high. Like he's not Sam Darnold. He's just not a huge difference.
No, yeah, for sure. I said I think it's possible, and if I could bet on it, I think I would, just because I think the Cowboys will be right in the high of that game.
They could. Their defense just it isn't that great. Like I said, I think part of that was Commanders, Cliff Kingsbury and everything. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think Dable's a better, like he don't have what Cliff Kingsbury has with the Commanders with Daniels and the two running backs and everything like that. But
yeah,
I would take Dable a million times out of a million over Cliff Kingsbury. Like he took Daniel Jones and them to the playoffs once. Like,
dude, I would not be mad if we had Dable as our OC next year, dude.
Not in any way. I would love it. That'd be great.
He was with Alabama winning titles. He was with Buffalo when they were on their run with Josh Allen. I mean, he would do a lot for this offense, dude.
He absolutely will. And he knows how to – he made the playoffs and won a playoff game with Daniel Jones as quarterback.
And, like, really nothing at receiver at the time either.
No, and no real offensive line.
Yeah. All right, who will score the first touchdown?
I got Hunter Lemke.
Oh.
I got Hunter on like a tight end screen or a little run up the middle, fake to the running back, slide it up the middle, and he runs in there behind Hoffman and BB. I'll go Hunter.
Okay. Interesting. I go with Ezekiel Elliott. If my calculations are correct, Zeke has scored 5 touchdowns on Thanksgiving Day, which is the Cowboys' record. I think he'll get a chance to score another one this week.
You know what? They may want that for the Salvation Army thing. Let him do his. Yeah. That's a good pick. Because I thought Zeke at first because I was thinking a short yardage or a screen. But I was like, well, I'm just going to say Hunter. Zeke's not getting a lot of snaps. But you're right. In this game, they'll try to get Zeke one if they can. They really will.
Yeah, absolutely. The sport here, I think Hoffman should get a shot at the right guard spot. He reminds me of Mark Colombo's attitude. Dallas needs a guy like that. Absolutely, man. I wouldn't be mad about that at all.
Not at all. If you can get a better Steele or an upgraded right tackle from Steele, Guyton, Tyler, Beebe, Brock Hoffman, and an upgraded right tackle could be a nice future offensive line.
I'm guessing you don't think of I know I mentioned this in the offseason, but I know he's been primarily a left tackle, but Asim Richards, he couldn't play right tackle, you don't think?
I think he's going to be the swing. I think he's going to end up being the swing tackle that can also play guard. Like, they're going to want him to be a utility backup. You're a swing tackle, but you could also play left guard or right guard if we needed you to. I think they want him to be the utility backup, which is nothing wrong with getting a utility backup out of the 5th round. Like, that is nice.
Any chance they let Austin play left tackle, move Guyton to right tackle, boom, problem solved there?
I don't think they'll move Guyton. Guyton's been fine. He'll be good at left tackle, and he's covered blinds. The only reason he was a right tackle is because the guy was left-handed quarterback. Like he's always been a blind side of the quarterback. So I don't think his issues aren't about his problems with his footwork left to right side. His issues are about leaning, getting up over himself, and lunging on his blocks. Like his is about how he uses his hands. He's got to do that better. His steps actually aren't terrible. It's his hands, not his feet.
I did my first mock draft a couple of days ago, and I noticed that there seemed to be a lot of like guards and centers in this draft.
Yeah, there'll be some good. You'll be able to get a guard center probably 3rd, 4th round if you wanted to. That could be a Biotish type. A good starter for you, not a great player. But if you could do that at right guard, and it's all going to count on if Steele is better or if you can upgrade from Steele. That's going to determine your left side's going to be good. Guyton, Steele, BB, you're going to be good. It's what you can do at guard, which we like Hoffman, we like Bass, who really he played well too. People don't forget about him. And what Steele does, another year out from injury. I think they're going to keep him one more year. And if he's a better pass blocker, just league average, 18, he just can't be 26 through 32. If he's somewhere in the 15 to 21 range, the line will be fine with Dak Prescott healthy.
It would be nice. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they had to upgrade at right tackle, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind if they could not have to use any more resources on the offensive line either,
I would, if you could tell me they could do defensive tackle is fully upgrade to a NFL caliber starting defensive tackle, and they could upgrade the offensive line, I'll sign Rico again and get some guy in the 5th round and hope he does well. I want the trenches to be great, like in 2016 offensive line level. And you got guys that could get there. Guyton could be that level of player with development. Tyler Smith's already that dude. BB could be that dude. So let's keep him going. I'm not looking for an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds this year personally, but I still find a way to develop your line into a better line without having to put too big resources into it.
Yes, sir. Mike, who will win this game?
I got Dallas. New York's actively they're really tanking. They legit hey, sit the quarterback. We're not going to get him injured. We don't care if we win or lose. He can't be injured. And you can see that the team knows it. Dexter Lawrence, Neighbors, or the QB isn't our problem. They know, oh, okay, you don't give a shit. You're just worried about money in the future. You're not trying to win right now. And I think that'll play up and Dallas will win.
Yeah, I have Dallas 30 and the Giants 0 all caps. So we'll see if I can predict that shutout for the Cowboys defense.
I'll go 20. How about 29-20 with a defensive touchdown in there?
Ooh, man, Giants scoring 20. I'd be kind of disappointed to see that.
I don't think the defense is as good as, but the defense has stunk basically all year. Even with guys getting back short week and everything, I don't know if they're going to be able to install this big, game plan against the Giants. So I'm going to say 29-20.
Okay, I like it. Close game. All right, here we are with Mike's views from the sidelines. How many prospects have you scouted? Last time I saw you had scouted 15. I think that was after the Atlanta game. Where are you at now? I'm
in the 50s, right around 50.
What side of the ball have you found yourself scouting the most?
Honestly, it's been DT wide receiver a lot. So it's been pretty even. But I took Dane Brugler's list, because you know how much I love Dane. And so I love Abdul Carter. My God, the edge rusher from Penn State. Love him. So I've done some edge rush. I've done not a lot of DBs yet. There's been offensive line, DT, a couple of edge rushers, a lot of wide receivers. So I'll start getting into O-line and DBs soon.
All right, who's the best prospect you've got to give us one on offense, one on defense, Mike?
Okay, so offense, I got Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, Colorado, Dion's boy. On defense, I got cornerback, Travis Hunter, Colorado, Dion. And I would personally play him at corner and allow him 10 to 12 offensive snaps to make an impact. I don't want him playing both sides because I don't want him. This is NFL game. This ain't college. I don't want him killing himself out there. But yeah, he's the best player, offense or defense. That guy is ridiculous.
So do you think he'll be a better corner than he would a wide receiver in the NFL?
I do. I think he'll be a top end wide receiver, very good wide receiver, a good wide receiver 1, elite wide receiver 2. I think as a corner, if he got like, hey, you're going to play corner full time, we'll run some plays for you on offense. You'll get a handful of snaps. You'll get 10 snaps a game, but you're a corner. I think he could be like a better coverage Diggs. He tracks the ball like a Diggs. He'd intercept the ball like Diggs, but he's more physical. He's a better tackler. He'd be better in press. He moves and thinks like a wide receiver. So I think he could be a special cornerback.
Maybe we'll get that draft day gas mask pick that tanks his draft stock, Mike.
Or just have Dion be like, what team? Oh, no, we don't want him there. Nope, don't draft them. We're not even going to meet with y'all. Nope, don't want him there. And then the other teams get quarterbacks or Abdul Carter or Tech McMillan. And then like somehow he falls to us in that 8 to 11 range if we could stay in that range.
Oh, my God, man. If we got another CeeDee Lamb type of fall for Travis Hunter, that'd be so sick.
There's just no way. I know I said about CeeDee Lamb, but it'd be even more gross. Like this is like the best player in college. Like, you know how Jalen Carter fell because he had that right before he had a bad workout and the off the field stuff, and he still made it top 10 because people were like, well, I mean, come on, at 9, I don't give a hell. I don't care if he shot somebody. Like, he's ridiculous. Like, that's Travis Hunter. Like, and he's corner or wide receiver, which are more in a draft room, they garner more like position value than DT still does.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, here we are with Cardinals corner. After their 4-game winning streak and bye week, the Arizona Cardinals couldn't shake off the rust and lose to the Seattle Seahawks, and they are no longer the division leaders in the NFC West. With a 6-5 record, they remain 2 wins away from making Mike eat his words in the form of a hot, delicious, frozen Red Baron pizza. Are you scared yet, Mike?
Yes, I'm very worried. Like, it's almost a guaranteed. Like, it would take if Cliff Kingsbury were their offensive coordinator, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be like, oh, the fall off's coming. But unfortunately, Gannon is a good coach, man, and I'm afraid I will be eating Red Baron on the air.
Live on stream, my friend. Here we are, one word. I couldn't believe this stat when I heard it yesterday, but after 12 weeks, the Cowboys finally scored their first third-quarter touchdown. That is blank.
At the same time, ready? One, two, three. Embarrassing.
Oh, I almost did embarrassing, but I'm like, you always use such a good word. I'm like, I need to come up with something different.
What'd you say? Say it again.
Absurd.
That's, basically saying the same thing. Basically, we're both saying, how the fuck did that happen?
Seriously, how does that happen, dude?
I do not know.
That's that's almost unbelievable, honestly.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous.
Mike, apparently you're having nightmares about Red Baron, it sounds like.
I do. I'm like, because it just like nobody, I don't want to eat frozen pizza. Like, I'm fat and I try to manage my weight because I can get big, I gotta watch it. And so if I'm gonna have like pizza, I want it to be one that I make or like a good one. And occasionally, if I'm like, all right, I just need to grab something, I'll have the Little Caesars, which is like the fast food of pizza. But that's like the lowest possible denominator. So getting like the frozen Red Baron is like, God. And then everybody's like, and it's coming, like Arizona's going to win 8 games. Like, they're not going 1 and whatever with the reigning schedule they have. And I hate it.
Mitch knows about the Red Baron. It sounds like he said he likes it.
Oh, no. Mitch digs Red Baron. He don't mind.
Wow, okay.
He used to have frozen pizzas all the time when he lived with his not lived with, but both our parents worked, so he would stay with his granny and granddad, and they had frozen pizzas all the time. So Red Baron's like you, it's a childhood thing.
Mitch, let me know, have you had the Mexican Red Baron pizza, which is me and my wife's favorite for sure? When we found it back in stores after it felt like a year or so that, we almost thought it got discontinued, but we were so excited when it came back to stores just earlier this year. And here we are with top. What was that, Mike?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's actually solid, man. I know you hate frozen pizza, but it's flavorful for sure. Here we are, top 5 things I'm most thankful for in 2024. Mike, give us your number 5, sir.
All right, I'm going to start with Cowboys Wire because while it's bad that they make me watch these games at the right articles, they also give me a platform for the draft stuff that's coming up. So I'm thankful for them. I get paid to write, and it's crazy because I did it so long for free, and now they're paying me, to do it. So it's cool.
Not much closer to living the dream, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's a dream, like that part. There's a lot of other parts of my life that's a big nightmare, but that part's pretty friggin' awesome.
Number 5 here. This is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it bad. Not recording so many podcasts every week. And I say that just because, you'll understand a little bit more later on. But it's not that I didn't enjoy actually doing the podcast, but it was more so Monday night, we have the podcast. Then Tuesday, upload the podcast and then get on the hunt for a guest for the Friday podcast while also preparing the show sheet for the fantasy podcast. And then on Wednesday, doing the research for that podcast and then recording that podcast. And Thursday, still waiting to hear back from a potential guest. And then if they can't do it, then finding another guest and then doing the show sheet for that podcast. And then if that doesn't work out, then doing a show sheet for Cowboy Sneak Peek and then hoping that can work out. It's just all the other things that happen behind the scenes that people don't realize you have to do. It's nice to not have to deal with that stress anymore at least for this year. Cause I miss offsides with the guests, man, talking about the game. I miss Cowboy Sneak Peek talking about the game with you and Brendan. I mean, I miss talking with you guys more than just once a week, but all the behind the scenes crap, freeing up that time has been nice.
What I told people all the time, people are like, oh, your podcast, this and that. Cause I talk 80%, 90% of the time. But I'm like, no, dude, this is Paul's. Paul does all the work. I just come on and talk. So, yeah, I understand, man. Believe me. I don't do any of that. All that, that ain't a dual thing. He does all that. So, yeah, it's nice that you get that extra time. I get it.
Yes. Number 4 on my list, going back to writing fantasy content after a year off, kind of replacing, I guess, the recording with going back to writing. It's been nice. I've enjoyed writing again. Something I guess I missed more than I actually had thought.
Yeah, that's kind of the same with me with the Cowboys Wire. It's a way to get the stuff out there, and then you getting paid for it is not bad. It's nice.
Definitely doesn't suck.
No, it does not.
Mike, number 4 on your list.
Number 4, weird one. JJ Redick. And
for the Lakers.
As a Laker fan, I hated Darvin Ham from I'd say 20 games into the first season. I knew he could not coach. I've watched basketball long enough. I've played it. I could watch and understand oh shit, he doesn't understand why you don't want to play this combination of players together, or certain things I'd see on the court that I was like, oh God, they don't know how to get the ball to a certain area or set up plays for a certain thing. And while JJ Redick, we blew a game against Orlando, AD missed the free throws, and then Denver always beats us. But even in that Denver game in the first half when the team was playing, they were up by 6, even though AD no-showed. LeBron had 6 turnovers, and they were up by 6 in the first half because his offense is so good to watch. He has a legitimate, beautiful offense that I know football more than basketball, but I know enough about basketball to look and go, oh, they're doing this. They're doing this. Oh, I like how they do this on defense, how they're doing this. I like who he's bringing in and why and there's only been a couple times that I'm like, why does he have this rotation out there? Where Ham was every game, I was like, you haven't learned not to play these two against this style of offense and this here. And it was constant. I hate it. I told people when Ham made the Western Conference, I go, it's going to put us back years because they're going to think he's good because we made the Western Conference, and it had nothing to do with him. They just happened to get a really talented team that meshed together well and was healthy for that little short of time. And then they ran into Denver and got beat. But I knew the next year we had no chance. I knew they were not going to be like right now. I believe Lakers could be a top 4 seed. Like they're going to win enough games with that offense that they run. They're going to beat teams regularly just off of that. Where with Ham, I knew like, okay, we're going to be battling somewhere between 6 and 10. Like we're not going to be up in that higher level. He's not good enough day to day. So JJ Redick.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know that, I didn't get to see a lot of Darvin Ham's career. I'm not sure how much of any of it I've got to see, but it always seemed like he was spoken well of, like he had a good career. He was a good player. I think a general misconception is people think that if a guy was played well in the league, that he might be a good coach. And obviously he's a prime example of that not working out along with several other guys. But, just because we're talking about him, it kind of seems like that's how people feel about Jason Kidd. Now, I don't know much about X's and O's in basketball, but whenever the Mavericks lose a close game, I always I'll see on X and Jason Kidd might be trending saying Jason Kidd doesn't know how to draw up a play for Luka. He doesn't do well in in-game adjustments, things like that. So I'm kind of worried that the Mavericks might be in that same spot. But at the same time, I mean, in his first 3 years, Western Conference Finals, top 10 draft pick, and then the finals. I mean, I don't know how you can speak badly of Jason Kidd.
All you do is say, Luka, you happy with Jason Kidd? Legitimately, pull him in.
Exactly,
not with everybody else around. How you feel as him as a coach? Do we need to improve? Is he good enough? And if Luka goes, nah, man, we're good. You go ahead because you got.
And then what he's been able to do with Kyrie Irving, I mean, not a lot of coaches have been able to do that with him. So I'm like, he might not be the best X's and O's guys, but he's doing something in that locker room.
Yeah, because I didn't want Kyrie Irving on Lakers. I was like,
I didn't want him either.
And then he gets on with Luka and he goes to the finals, and I'm like, damn, we could have used him with Ham. Like that was basically our only chance with Ham was to get overly crazy talented.
Yeah. All right, Mike, number 3 on your list.
Number 3, my parents. Lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into details, but y'all understand what they could do for people. And I got lucky. I got good ones. And I wouldn't be where I am, if it wasn't for them. So happy Thanksgiving to both of them. Good. I got lucky with those two.
Absolutely. And number 3 for me, kind of sticking with the content here, short form content. What I'm not recording the longer form content, multiple times a week, doing these short little shorts on YouTube, just kind of trying to keep the Across the Cowboys brand fresh in people's minds. And I've heard that's kind of like another way definitely an easy way to go viral, but also an easy way to kind of stay relevant and get your content more out there. So I'm thankful for the short form content because I feel like it's helped me to kind of step more out of my comfort zone already than just being the host of this show for so long, but also giving us another avenue into, waiting for our first viral moment and getting in front of more eyes.
I want to do that. We just can't figure out how to get. I want to do like little 5-minute videos or whatever. We just can't figure out how to get that done. But if we ever do, I'll join you on that. I don't know if it'll be as frequent, but I would like to get on and do some.
No, yeah. I mean, especially around draft time, I think it'll help. I don't know. I'm going to have to reach out to YouTube and get that whole account login information figured out. But we definitely will do it, especially before draft time. Number 2 on my list, 2024 has been a strange year for me. That's all I'll say. But what I'm thankful for is the extra time I've been able to have with my son. Like our bond really, really grew this year. I'm so thankful for that. Like we're not just father and son, but we're like buddies now. And that's been really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll join you. I have a similar number 2. No, he's not my son, but he's the closest thing I'd have to a son. I kind of grew up with him. I hope I had a good influence on him, but Denny is number 2. His 18th birthday was October 30th. And we went to Disney World November 4th through whatever that was, the 10th or whatever, 11th. I don't know. We were there a while, but, the fact that that he hadn't pushed me aside when, that it's 18 years old, the girls are going to be coming and the friends are there. And he's still he texts me right now. I haven't looked at it yet, but I told him, hey, you want to go see Moana 2 tomorrow? And my guess is that it just says, okay, which is funny. I had to check that. Hold on. I'm going to see. and I'll show you guys because he's he's a true 18-year-old. Let's see. Can you guys see? Can you see what he put?
Hold on, let me see.
He put.
Okay.
That is how he
Yeah.
answers. So, like, you know, I don't have to go to the movies myself. So I buy him a Regal card, so the movies are free, and we'll get some popcorn and watch the movies and chill. And like you said, it's like a buddy thing, you know, being able to do that and having that at 18 and having to deal with my over 40-year-old ass. You know, he's thinking, God, I got to hang out with this loser again, but he puts up with me, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I know I was surprised when because you sent us a picture of like you and Denny. I don't know if he was at the bus station or at the airport, and I just saw the two of you. And I was when me and Brendan were recording, I'm like, is it just the two of them going to Disney? He's like, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I just took him for his 18th birthday, so we get a week there, and we all know I love it. So it was awesome for both of us.
Early Christmas gift for you and a birthday gift for him, right?
Yes, and I'm a Christmas Eve baby, so Christmas
birthday and Christmas gift for you.
Yep.
All right, number one on your list, Mike.
Number one's Disney.
Yeah.
Disney's the only reason I survive around here. Like, if it wasn't for that, I'd have given up with all my health conditions and everything, and the way the Cowboys do me and everything. Yeah. And so I'd be done without Disney. And that Disney World trip was Animal Kingdom, like a Disney zoo and everything. Yeah. I would go further into it, but I know my brother's like, get this friggin' podcast over. I want to have some more shots. So let's get to your number one. I'm thankful for Disney.
Number one, like I said, man, 2024 has been a strange year. I'll just be totally honest. It's been a borderline terrible year for me, and my wife has been here through it all, man. My rock, my everything, man. Just so solid ever since all the years that I've known her, man. She's just always been by my side. So, number one, my most thankful for. No disrespect to anybody listening to who knows me, but got to go with my wife, Hannah, man.
My Facebook and Instagram friend. Hannah.
Yes, sir.
Right. I don't have Paul on either of those, but I have her. So
I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not even sure my account on Instagram is still active. I know that my account on Facebook, my original account has not been active for a long time, and I don't get on Instagram like that. But maybe I should.
I don't go on Facebook at all. Everything that goes on Facebook just goes from my Instagram automatically. It automatically shares. Yeah. I'm never on Facebook. So yeah, but Instagram I stay on pretty regularly.
All right, Mike, man, it was nice to get back into the habit of recording, or let's get back on the saddle, if you will.
Yeah, that's why we went so long. I apologize. Because we were kind of talking as we're going, because we haven't talked really in a few weeks. So apologize for the long pod, but we'll try to get it down to around 45 to an hour next time, I promise.
Yes, sir. Mike, where can we find you on Twitter and Blue Sky?
CD Piglet is Twitter. Blue Sky is Mike Crum. CD Piglet in parentheses.
Okay. Yes, guys, I am Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Paul_Ryan15. Actually, just Paul Ryan15, all one word there on Blue Sky. Please make sure to give us both a follow. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you guys next week. And happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm Mike Crum /CD Piglet. Okay. At least I didn't.
Make sure to give him that follow, y'all. Peace.